お待たせしております。それでは本日最後のプログラムを皆様にご紹介いたします。続いては SC における Defi エコシステムの拡大と題しまして、チェインリンクラブスキャピタルマーケッツプレジデントのフェルナンド・バスケス様、アルパカ共同創業者チーフテクノロジーオフィサーチーフプロダクトオフィサー原田仁様、ビザアジア太平洋地域デジタル通貨部門責任者ニシント・サンガビ様、モデレーターはストラットフォードファイナンス最高経営責任者アンジェリーナ・クアン様に務めていただきます。Now let me introduce our next program. The title is Expansion of the DeFi Ecosystem in Stablecoins. We're pleased to welcome the following speakers. Fernando Vasquez, Chainlink Labs, Hitoshi Harada from Alpaca, and Nishint Sangavi from Visa. The moderator for this session is Angelina Kwan, CEO of Stratford Finance. それでは皆様、大きな拍手でご登壇者をお迎えください。Please welcome the speakers with a big round of applause. こんにちは。では皆様どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
Good afternoon, everyone. Is everybody having a great time? Are you learning a lot? Okay, well, you're going to learn even more from my panelists today. So I'm very, very excited here, and I'm going to introduce them in a second. So our session title today is on the expansion of the DeFi ecosystem. And the operative word is expansion in stablecoins. I think we have some very, very, very interesting speakers, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Why don't I let you introduce yourselves? We'll start from this side, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. You need to talk. Grab your mics.
Hello. There you go. I'm Fernando, president at Chainlink. I like the title of this panel. It has the fact it has the DeFi word in it. We at Chainlink have been one of the pioneers behind DeFi, and today we secured 70%, 70, of all the TVL on chain. We're talking about EVM compatible chains. Our share is actually more than 85%. And now our focus is on the convergence between traditional finance and DeFi. But as we do so, we realize that we need to have certain building blocks that were not there in DeFi in the early days. Here we're talking about things like compliance. We're talking about things like privacy. It's stuff that was not even, part of the equation back in the day. And over the last few years, we built the foundational primitives, the foundational building blocks that not only DeFi players and the crypto natives, but also the traditional players need to safely transact on chain.
Slow down. I want more of this in a minute. Let me just get through with our introductions first. I know you're excited. And I think all of my speakers are really exciting. So, Hitoshi-san.
Sure, yeah. Hi, my name is Hitoshi Harada. I'm co-founder and chief product officer of the Alpaca. Alpaca is a company, API first stock and crypto brokerage out of the US and globally. We serve more than 300 financial institutions across 40 countries. And lately, we are powering all the tokenized US stocks across the world. And in fact, I think we are dominating more than 90% of the TVL of the tokenized US securities today. So that's, I'm very excited about how DeFi and things are expanding. So happy to talk more.
And I asked Hitoshi-san, why did he name his company Alpaca? And do you want to give a real brief why?
Sure, yeah, why not? We named Alpaca because we knew that the fintech company, we were going to do the fintech and finance technology. Both sounds cool, cold, rigid. So we wanted to have the name with the animals or fruits. And Alpaca sounds great. It's fluffy, approachable, memorable, and also it starts from A, which now helps us get into the top of the list always. So that's how we came.
And if you haven't seen an alpaca and played with one, you have to one day. So it's very cute. And So I'll always remember his name. Nishchin, tell us a bit about MasterCard and what they're doing. A short one first.
Visa.
Yeah.
You said the taboo one.
We were prepping, and I was saying Visa and MasterCard. Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry.
Absolutely.
Faux pas.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Nischint Sanghvi. I take care of Visa's digital currency business for Asia Pacific. Great to be here. So again, I think at Visa, we've been focused on the digital currency business for a long time, close to 7-8 years now. In fact, in the last 2 to 3 years, we have directly integrated stablecoins within our own ecosystem. And would love to talk more about that as you go along, but great to be here. Thanks.
So I think this timing is perfect in terms of having this conversation in Tokyo, because Japan really is one of the first major markets to move stablecoins from theory into reality. And it's regulated reality, which means people are moving forward in terms of getting regulated, getting licensed, and it's going to be mainstream. So basically, what we're seeing now is the ecosystems around them are also increasing expectations around proof of governance and risk controls. So you're seeing a lot of changes, and Japan is really leading the way. So in the next 35 minutes, I want to stay practical. What's actually working in production today, what still is blocking scale, and what does expansion mean? Because to me, expansion means a lot more stablecoins out there. Well, how do you differentiate, or what's going on? Are they giving licenses and things like that? This is something we're going to explore today. And what does it really mean in DeFi? How can Asia, I come from Hong Kong, how can Hong Kong learn from this? And for those of you who don't know, we've got the first stablecoin licenses in Asia that are coming out and getting licensed, and we're expecting a license to come through. So I'm going to stop talking now and start asking my panel here, my very esteemed panel, start asking a little bit more about what you do and what you're focusing on. So, we talked about role, and I'm sorry, I cut you off a little bit. Do you want to add to your role anymore in terms of?
I'm good.
Okay, you're good. Why don't you tell us, Toshi-san, tell us about your role within Alpaca?
Within Alpaca.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm a chief product officer and a chief technology officer today. So I'm in charge of like setting the product vision and this the moment of the tokenization and DeFi in general resonates really resonates me particularly, because me and Yoshi started this company Alpaca with the mission of providing open financial services to everyone on the planet. And the reason we came up with this is because we saw that the global financial system has been very fragmented. Each jurisdiction has its own rule, and the systems, vendors, technologies are all like fragmented. Depends on where you are, like the type of the service that you can receive in the financial global system varied. And so we wanted to build infrastructure to basically abstract away those complexity, because there's more builders, more developers who want to build a new innovative way of providing the open financial services, but always like they get blocked. And so like our mission is to build a global de facto infrastructure for financial services, and the tokenization really like matches like how we see the new way of running the financial systems.
Let me ask Nischint, what about yourself? What are you doing within your company?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, right? So for Visa, digital assets in general, we've been focused for a long time, starting with being a bridge between the crypto native ecosystem and the traditional finance ecosystem. So we've had many products, and I think maybe I'll just spend a few minutes on talking about the type of products we are focused on, right? So starting with on-ramps and off-ramps. On-ramps is typically where you can use your existing Visa card to purchase any digital asset, whether it's stablecoin, crypto, at a global exchange. And that's been a business for a long time, and now we focused on reducing the fraud, risk, capabilities, and making sure that customers are protected. The flip side is the off-ramp, where we provide spend capability. So we provide Visa credentials to companies who can give their clients a Visa card, so they can spend their crypto or stablecoin balance at any Visa merchant globally, which means any wallet you have which is linked to a Visa card, you can go globally and spend, buy a cup of coffee, buy airline tickets, whatever you need to buy, using your stablecoin balance at the back. So this gives the best consumer experience, we believe, also providing you the same security that you're used to. But that was the early work that we've been doing. Last few years, we've been focused a lot on integrating stablecoins within our own ecosystem. So one of the examples was stablecoin settlement, where we now settle in USDC, PayPal USD, EuroC, and USDG with our issuers and acquirers. And we've been scaling this up over time. So it started a few years back, but this year we should reach about $4.5 billion of settlement volume. And this is within our own ecosystem of issuers and acquirers. Then the next step is taking it to their clients, where our financial institution clients, banks or fintechs, can work through money movement use cases through some of the products called Visa Direct. And it could be a payout into stablecoin or pre-funding into stablecoin. So we are expanding the use cases as we go along. And of course, there are many more things in the pipeline that we are working on as well. And of course, we've been focused on a lot of these central bank pilots as well. We wrapped up the HKMA pilot. In fact, we worked with Chainlink a little bit on that as well. So we've been quite active even in those pilots.
And it's so exciting to see all of you up here, because there's been so many changes now. And I think this is a really good time for us to talk about expansion, because that's exactly what's happening. So what does expansion mean to you in terms of how the market is going? Are you seeing Chainlink's expansions and you're doing it for clients, or is this for Chainlink building its own systems, or tell the audience?
For us, it's all about adoption. I think Web3 has shown that you, as an asset owner, you should have able to have access to utility. You should be able to have access to yield. And this is people who have been exposed to so-called fintech from the very early days. I think again, younger generations that are so-called internet native, digital native. They expect things to happen instantaneously. When you move, send a picture to a friend, just expecting that to arrive there right away. Web3 brought that to finance. And you look at what's happening in traditional capital markets. Let's say I'm an owner of a bond here in Japan. I would have sent it to you in Hong Kong. That doesn't happen right away. There is a lot of friction.
Yes, there is.
And doesn't meet the expectations, right, of, again, the so-called digital natives. That, for me, expansion means having traditional finance get to benefit from the innovations of DeFi. So this convergence is the focus for us at Chainlink. But we need to realize that back in the day, in the early days of DeFi, Angela, you had a wallet, I will have a wallet, I send you a coin, I get a coin return. There was no need for privacy. There was no need for compliance. There was no need for connectivity cross-chain, because both you and I were on Ethereum. But as you try to bring banks, broker-dealers, new brokers, you name it, you need to protect all the stakeholders. So all of a sudden, yeah, you need privacy in certain cases. Do you want to prevent from running? Do you want compliance? Because certain products are not suitable for certain people. There are suitability criteria. Mm-hmm. So you need a compliance engine somewhere. And in many cases, different countries, different chains are more popular than others. So you need to provide connectivity between chains. Not only that, if you're a bank, if you invested billions of dollars developing a core banking system, you want to keep that. And you still want to be able to interact meaningfully on chain. So there has to be some glue between the legacy plumbing and the new blockchain powered plumbing. This is what we actually provide. We provide all the building blocks, all the foundational primitives that you need to transact on chain, no matter whether you are a traditional finance player or a DeFi player. This convergence is what we see as success, right? And want to expedite the whole process.
and I think Chainlink has been so successful in terms of interoperability and just working and modernizing traditional organizations like exchanges and companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is something that's been very good.
Yeah, actually, with the interop, I would like to.
Sure.
Some people, when they hear the word interop, they assume that we are talking about technical interoperability between different chains or between a core banking system and any particular blockchain. But I would argue that we have already solved that problem. Now the biggest issue is legal interoperability.
Yeah.
You know, here in Japan, the regulations are different from those in Hong Kong, those in the US, EU, UK, you name it. If you look at the taxonomy of tokenized securities, it's different from country to country. It's not that you can just allow a token to go through cross-chain because you might be enabling regulatory arbitrage. That's not what you want.
No.
You don't want to be part of the problem, right? You want to contribute to the.
You want to fix the problem.
You want to fix the problem, right? So that's why we at Chainlink, in addition to the bridges between chains, we developed a compliance engine called ACE, Automated Compliance Engine, that allows you to build the business logic to meet the regulatory criteria to do things in a compliant manner. That said, there's still work to be done between the private sector and public sector before all the necessary standards.
Got it. Hitoshi-san, what do you think expansion means to you in terms of your usage, your repeat behavior of some of the things that you're doing?
Sure, yeah. I will focus on the what's happening today first. So, yeah, like up until now, like stable coins are kind of also idea, and I know like there has been the real use cases, but also in a way, like also in Japan today, still stable coin, regulated stable coins can send only this much. However, for example, like what we are seeing at Alpaca is that now like we are facilitating securities transactions with the stable coins. So that means is that if someone buys the US securities such as Tesla, and we receive the stablecoin, and we are breaching the gap right now because we have both a crypto entity and a broker-dealer entity in the US, but people want to do so. That's why like we are providing the services. And this is one of the reasons that we luckily ended up serving this more than 90% of the US securities tokenization today. But yeah, the world is becoming more converging. There's no even DeFi or crypto separate from traditional finance anymore. And in fact, last week, I think this week or last week, the SEC announced that guidance of for broker-dealer to custody the stablecoins on behalf of the clients, and the haircut is 2%, which is a big deal. If you think about it, it used to be 100%, means that you have to have the same amount of the money reserved in order to custody stablecoin with 100%. But 2% means that you can basically treat it as a cash, right? So, and that way, like things are moving very quickly, and also adoption is going aggressively, and that's only stablecoin. And again, like talking about the tokenized stocks today, some of the exchanges like Kraken is reporting billions of dollars monthly already trading volume, and that's only centralized exchange. And if you look at the DeFi, decentralized exchange and similar trading volume, you're seeing again like billions of dollars traded already there, and it's still just the beginning. If you look at the total volume notional of the U.S. markets, which is trillions of dollars, right? So it's still beginning, but it's expanding quickly. And in fact, again, those X stocks and Ondo GM and those tokenized stocks just launched less than a year ago, and they're already trading that much, like 30x or year over year or something like that. So yeah, that's the expansion that we are seeing.
That is expansion. And then I'm going to ask Nischint, in terms of institutional adoption, are you seeing a lot of adoption and expansion in those areas, especially with what your company is doing?
Yes, so I think as I said, we've gone through this journey starting with crypto native firms. They're already live. They're doing volume at scale. Then moving to fintechs, and we've announced a couple of partnerships with some of the large fintechs, and that's generally now moving at live volumes and reaching a certain scale. I think with institutions and banks, we are getting there. I think we are still at early stages. We are at the pilot stages. We are at stages where they're getting comfortable, but we are not moving money or we are not moving stable coins at scale today. And that's what expansion would be for us, where the giant banks eventually start moving stablecoin at scale. And that could be also for us as a learning point where we start integrating stablecoins within each of our products at scale. It's happening in some of our products, but not at all our products. So I think it's about integrating stablecoins at a more deeper way, in a way almost that it gets abstracted away, where customers don't see the need for stablecoin. They just see a payment use case, and then depending on what is the best alternative, it comes out as an alternative. At least that's how we look at this entire space. And it is promising, especially I think since last year, after the Genius Acts, we've seen a major shift in the institutional thinking. And I mean, we've had hundreds of conversations over the last 1 year, and I'm sure all of you have had the same, where almost every big institution is trying to get ahead of it. So of course, because they are regulated institutions, it needs to work with the right regulatory frameworks, the compliance standards, the KYC, all of the other mechanisms that institutions are required to do. And that does take a certain amount of time. Technical integration also with large institutions takes a longer time. So, but I think we are going well in the journey now. And I think I'm going to quote somebody who had mentioned about, how things happen gradually and then suddenly. So it's basically how I think we're thinking that's the inflection point today, right? So
it is the time. And I've been coming to this conference for the last 5 years and seeing the range of topics. It was first crypto, but now you're seeing more and more discussions of all these new products. And I think it's so exciting now, which sort of leads into my next question in terms of what's actually working and what's working today. And I will start with Hitoshi-san. What are you looking about in terms of, does end-to-end DeFi window work? What's working well? What can be improved? I'll start with Hitoshi-san first.
Yeah, that's a good question. What's working today? Like I said, the tokenized stocks are already working and it's real, and people are actually trading. And the premise of this is that it's not just 24/7 hours trading or fractionalized, because that's been also like available for at least like US markets. What's changing is I think it's now more adapting very quickly globally, and it becomes more borderless. I think like X stock is now, you can buy X stocks within Telegram today from certain country. And so that's working in a way that the premise of these tokenization, what it unlocks is I think it's already working, but again, like that's still just beginning, because also like the whole industry is expecting this. For example, the stock lending is more institutional capability, but it's what's necessary for the market to have more liquidity. And if by moving the assets onto on-chain, you can also think about like a smart contract way of stock lending, more mechanical, programmable way, composability, and those are. I've seen some startups working on that too. And again, like that's not even the theory anymore. That's in motion. So that's exciting too.
I think this is definitely the expansions areas. And we have only started touching with stock, and we've only started touching with real world assets. So I think it's going to be a very exciting time. So Nishchan, in terms of payments, that's your area, as well as settlements and pilots and corridors. What's working there? What's the high bright spot right now?
I can tell you what's working, and again, what I mentioned earlier is things like stablecoin linked cards, crypto linked cards, I think those are working at scale globally, and users really like them. We've got very good feedback, and I think some of the fintechs have done a phenomenal job of getting these out to scale at many markets wherever it's legally permitted. So that's working pretty well. Of course, now there are nuances of how that can continue to expand as we move to larger banks, financial institutions. Or what could do better and what needs to have more work is almost about figuring out how you can have stablecoins within your bank account. So you have a wallet, you can easily convert between your assets and fiat, and then spend that money as required. Now that's something which is not there today. We do hope that comes up in the next 12 to 18 months or in the next 2 years at least at scale. So that's something I think there is enough scope for improvement. I think on the money movement side, we're somewhere in the middle, where since the last 9 to 12 months, we've seen a lot of traction in B2B money movement, starting with very small businesses. Now it's kind of moving to the mid-scale. Now we need to get that scale up to even the larger corporations, right? And we're starting to see some of those green shoots there, but that needs to happen a little bit fast now.
Fernando, the secondary bridge, is that working? Is that something that you are looking at? Because your colleagues were talking about that before.
Bridging, right?
Yes, bridging.
So the bridging is needed when you have fragmented liquidity. We've seen this across use cases like stable coins, but you also seen that with tokenized funds, for example. Because the way many asset managers are tokenizing today is to create a share class per chain. So you're an asset manager, want to issue on Ethereum, Solana, you name it, you end up with fragmented liquidity across a number of chains. Right? So to connect that liquidity, you need a bridge functionality. It's not just about, again, the tech side of things, right? You need to do integration with transfer agents, you name it. In that sense, bridging technology is helping create a global unified liquidity pool. That the pretty much might change over time, and I foresee a future where there is a single share class across all the different chains. But in many cases, when you want to do distribution cross-border, and having again separate share classes, and with countries having different preferences, right, in terms of the chain and what you need to do in terms of compliance, this bridging technology will always be required to have, at least from the user experience point of view, proper fungibility and across different share classes and a unified liquidity pool. So I see that working out. The technology is already there. Was maybe kind of missing is the standards around how to do all of that. But we at Chainlink are working with regulators, globally, to make that, regulatory alignment happen.
Got it. Unfortunately, we don't have that much time, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that, and do add in something if you want to bring it up. If you could fix anything right now, what would be the one thing that your company would focus on, that if you could fix it or make better or improve or make the killer app, what would you do?
For us, is the boring stuff, the non-sexy side of the job, which is compliance. I mentioned legal interop. I think that's going to be the killer app. And we actually will keep focus on the automated compliance engine that I mentioned before. And that's what will make it possible to have an actual global liquidity pool across Japan, US, Hong Kong, you name it.
So you mean you want to figure out all the compliance issues, then you can have a global liquidity pool amongst everyone.
Exactly. And not just that, even things like...
that is a good wish.
Absolutely. Harada-san alluded to that, right? We need to apply a haircut, right? Even, let's say in the US, for US issued stablecoins. Why? Because there's fear that, there's issue risk, right? So you have things like proof of reserve. We at Chainlink did that, but you come to Japan and you want to use a US issued stablecoin, you need to have a double reserve. You have back in the US, do the same in Japan. but there's a standard way of doing proof for reserve. Maybe the rules might change in Japan, but now you can trust the issuer. So that's also part of what I call legal interop. Let's create standards for proof for reserve, so that when you bring a non-Japan issued stablecoin to Japan, you don't need to create another reserve in Japan to make it usable. That's going to be our focus. Again, it doesn't sound exciting, but I think that's what is going to be one of the key unlocks going forward.
There was one thing you could fix, Satoshi-san, or ask for, or make a wish for.
Instead of like fixing something as a company, instead of fixing something as a alpaca, I have a wish list, my personal, wish list, which is again like similar to like what Fernando is saying, but especially in the countries like Japan, the law is very hard to rewrite.
Yes.
And I'm actually like currently based in Dubai, and like very close to like, living in DIFC, which was just created 15 years ago. So. Yeah. And like many cities are now following the same way. India created a gift city. The Kazakhstan has an AIFC, which again like simulates something like DIFC. The benefit of that is that you can basically start from scratch, and you can adapt. You can design that from, to adapt to what is available today instead of modifying what has been written. And so I know it's very tough, very difficult to do it, but in Japan somewhere, hey, can we create just like a space where we can just like start from scratch?
Yes. If you could do it all over again.
Yes.
Okay, that'll be your wish.
I'm an engineer. Scratch build. That's my favorite. So.
Got it. And Nischin, if you could do anything or ask for anything, what would your recommendation or what would your ask be in terms of stablecoins and your businesses? What would you want?
I think I would like to have less regulatory, I would say, different jurisdictional friction. So I think right now there is multiple jurisdictions, especially in Asia Pacific. You have many countries with very, very fragmented regulations. Some cases, stablecoins are there, some coming up, some not allowed. So there's a lot of fragmentation. I think it would be great to have some equality of regulations, and then that comes back to common standards. We would love to play a role in building some of those common standards as a network, and then see how we can frame some of the money movement solutions to make money movement much more simpler. I mean, everything should be as easy as a tap or a click, and that's at least our goal, to make consumer experiences, business experiences very simple.
Got it. We have 3 minutes left. I'm going to ask you to do something fun. What's your prediction for this year in terms of stablecoins? I'll make a prediction. I think stablecoins are going to be used even more, and it's going to be even easier to get simple stablecoins down the street. I think that's what's going to happen. That's my prediction. Over to you, Fernando.
My prediction is that my family will start using stablecoins.
Very good. And you can give stablecoin allowances to your kids.
No kidding.
Perfect.
And now I have the assurances that to actually do so.
Yeah.
Okay, we are at Chainlink. In certain cases, we're helping with things like proof of reserve. Again, it's not sexy, but that gives me what I need to give my daughter.
Daddy. Daddy. Okay. Next, what's your prediction?
Yeah, I mean, like rather than prediction, like we are trying to make it happen to, basically this stablecoin. We like use the stablecoin as real payment system. So yeah, and as an investment, from an investment perspective.
And you can buy alpaca food with your stablecoins.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Nischin, you have last. What do you wish? Or what is your prediction?
Okay, this is more for prediction. I do believe that this is going to be the year where we're going to see many strong local stablecoins around Asia Pacific and other markets as well. And I know there have been regulations in play. Everybody's been waiting for it. So I think this could be the year we see that.
Well, I kept us right on time. Like, audience, can we give our speakers a really great round of applause for being out here? And we're going to check in a year's time. We're going to get you up here, and I'm going to ask you again, did your wishes come true? And your daughter's going to be asking, I want a bigger allowance, Daddy. So thank you very much. Let's give everybody a round of applause. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you so much to the
being here today.
speakers. Please give a big round of applause to all speakers. We're going to have a photo session, so please stay on the stage. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. スピーカーの皆様にもう一度大きな拍手をお願いいたします。ありがとうございました。はい、以上をもちまして最後のセッションをお送りいたしました。